a third consecutive petition by your client, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, and you said this time you have a watertight case. Why so?
The nature of a case that we do have is evidence that shows very well that the technological system was manipulated and it was commandeered so that it could bring in the results that were needed. We shall be showing that there were forms that were being downloaded from the portal and replaced to reflect different outcomes. We shall also have evidence showing that results were also being staged, so that when they got to IEBC, they were first looked at, verified to conform to particular outcomes before again being uploaded. And we also have evidence of forms which are different from what was declared, so that one result would be declared in a polling station, but on the other hand, a different form would be filled and uploaded, showing a different kind of result.
And the question that comes to mind is, didn't you have agents that could have actually been able to, peruse through these forms and say, hey, stop, there is a discrepancy in what you're sending to the Bomas of Kenya, or isn't this something we could be able to see at the portal, the public portal?
That's what all those boxes were for. The boxes are full of documents that we ourselves had that we are able to show were altered in terms of what ended up in the portal is very different than what was given by the presiding officer at the polling station.
Is it possible that I could have walked into the polling station, voted for the president, and not voted for the other candidates? Because one of the issues you're talking about is discrepancies in the numbers of those who voted for the president and the other candidates.
Firstly, the law is that you don't choose. You don't get to choose what ballots to take. You must take all your 6 ballots. Whether you want to mark them or not is a different issue, and that you must post them into the relevant box. Again, whether you mark it or deface it, that is entirely your right. So there is absolutely no chance that anybody enters a polling station and decides in a general election that they're only coming in to vote for the president. The law does not allow them that. So whenever you see this discrepancy, then that's usually indicative of ballot stuffing, because otherwise all the ballots would be the same, and that you would have the same number of voters all the way from the presidential race and up to the member of the county assembly race. There are a total of 27 stations, knowing very well that he still did not have, either he had the results of those 27 constituencies, or he was staging the results of those 27 constituencies, because he never announced them. Instead, he just came back and said that he had the final result.
Were they in the portal, the 27?
They were not in the portal. We do not know whether they had arrived at the Bomas of Kenya. He never answered any questions regarding those 27 constituencies.
How much difference does it make not having these 27?
Most of them are within our strongholds. So we think that it would have made a lot of difference in terms of the vote count had they read them.
Would you have then beaten William Ruto, or what do you think would have happened? Looking at the numbers and what we are going to be able to show the court is we will show very clear inflation of ballots in favor of William Ruto, and we shall also be able to show that there were votes that were denied Raila Odinga in the reporting system, and we shall be able to calculate and show that the substantive number of votes is so high that the obvious winner in this election was Raila Odinga. When Chebukati spoke, one of the things he said is that yourselves and the commissioners were actually attempting to force a runoff.
I think what the argument first is based on the figures that Chebukati himself was using. And say Chebukati began by saying that the voter turnout was 65.4%. And if you calculate 65.4% with the number of registered voters, then you got a figure which, if you took a percentage of, with the ballots that have been counted for each candidate, none of the candidates got 50%. So we are saying even with his own figures, nobody then was getting to be an outright winner. And I think that is one of the discrepancies that the 4 commissioners were also having a problem with.
So what will you be asking the court? Is it a rerun? Is it a re-election? Is it a retally? Exactly what do you want to see the court do?
Of course, we want Raila Odinga to be declared winner. That's why we are participating. The options are entirely up to the court, though. The court has powers both all the way from declaring an outright winner to ordering a rerun or to ordering a runoff. So there's various options, and we wait to see what the court will decide.
Have we learned anything from 2013 and 2017 petitions as a country? Or has the IEBC learned any lessons?
IEBC has not learned any lessons because it's been under the chairmanship of the same person ever since. So the person who messed up the 2017 election never did anything regarding the issues that had been raised against him by the court, and he came with the same mistake to run another election. We have therefore called for the court to find that he is guilty of election offences and that they recommend that action be taken against him. We have also asked that the court declare that he is unfit to hold public office.
Assume the courts say, okay, we agree with you, let the country go to a re-election. Are you not creating a legal crisis by saying this commission must be thrown out and we must have another commission? At this point, when we're in a transition, who would then appoint that commission? Who would vet the commissioners?
The fact that there will be difficulty does not mean that we should just walk blindly into a mess because we are uncomfortable about what it takes to clean it up. This must be cleaned up. It's not going to come easy, it's not going to come comfortably, but we can't continue working with this ahead of us.
So what you're saying is that William Ruto did not win the election, but instead he stole the election?
Yes, he did not win, he stole it, and we are going to expose that and claim our victory.